Am I the a-hole for refusing to host my sister's wedding at my vineyard after she accused me of stealing her dream? Hi everyone, I'm a 35-year-old male, am 35, and I've found myself in a bit of a family drama that I'm hoping to get some perspective on. My younger sister, Emily, F29, has always been very passionate about wine and vineyards. Growing up, she used to talk about owning a vineyard one day. We both shared that dream, but I never really talked about it as much as she did. We grew up in a small town, and our family didn't have much, so the idea of owning a vineyard was always a distant fantasy. But it was one of those dreams that kept us going, especially Emily. She'd spend hours researching viticulture, watching documentaries, and even dragging me along to wine tastings when we were older. It was her thing, and I always admired her passion. Fast forward to 5 years ago, I came into some money after a successful business venture. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to make some real investments. At the time, I was working a high-stress job in the city, and I was burning out fast. One weekend, I took a trip to a vineyard to clear my head, and something just clicked. The peace, the beauty, the idea of working with the land, it all resonated with me on a deep level. I decided then and there that I wanted out of the rat race, and I wanted to invest in a vineyard. I didn't tell Emily at first. I wasn't trying to hide it from her, but I also didn't want to get her hopes up in case it didn't work out. I started looking at small vineyards for sale and eventually found one that felt perfect. It was a fixer-upper, but that didn't deter me. I saw the potential, and I went for it. When I finally told Emily, she seemed surprised but happy for me, or so I thought. She visited the vineyard often, helped out with the harvests, and even suggested a few ideas for improving the place. I thought we were bonding over it, that she was living vicariously through me. But now, I realized that maybe she was bottling up some serious resentment. A few months ago, Emily got engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Mark, M31. They're a great couple, and I was genuinely excited for them. When they started planning their wedding, Emily asked me if they could have the wedding at my vineyard. I was thrilled. I said yes without hesitation and told her I'd cover most of the expenses as my gift to them. She seemed ecstatic at the time. But then, about 2 weeks ago, Emily called me in tears. She said she couldn't have her wedding at my vineyard because it was too painful for her. Confused, I asked her to explain. She then accused me of stealing her dream and said that every time she visited the vineyard, she was reminded of how it should have been hers. I was stunned. I had no idea she felt this way. I tried to talk to her about it, but she was adamant that I had betrayed her by buying the vineyard. She said that hosting her wedding there would be a constant reminder of what she lost. I tried to reason with her, offering to make the day special in any way I could, but she refused. She even suggested that I sell the vineyard to make things right, which honestly, I can't do. It's my livelihood now, and I've poured my heart and soul into it. I finally told her that I couldn't sell the vineyard, and if she felt that strongly, maybe it was best if she found another venue for the wedding. Now, she's not speaking to me, and my parents are furious, saying that I should have known how much this meant to her and that I'm being selfish. To make matters worse, my parents have always been more protective of Emily, since she's the youngest and they see her as the baby of the family. They've been calling me non-stop, trying to guilt-trip me into changing my mind. They've even suggested that I offer Emily a share of the vineyard or something to make it up to her, but that feels like it would only complicate things more. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to host my sister's wedding at my vineyard after she accused me of stealing her dream? Update 1. Wow, I did not expect this post to blow up like it did. First off, I want to thank everyone for the feedback, both positive and negative. It's given me a lot to think about. A few of you pointed out that Emily might be dealing with more than just jealousy, maybe some unresolved feelings about her own life not going the way she planned. That really hit home for me. After reading through the comments, I decided to reach out to Emily and have a heart-to-heart conversation. I didn't want this issue to fester and potentially ruin our relationship. I asked her to meet me at a neutral location, and thankfully, she agreed. We met up at a cafe, and I started by apologizing for not realizing how deeply this was affecting her. I told her that I never meant to steal her dream and that I genuinely thought she was happy for me. Emily admitted that she's been harboring these feelings for a long time but didn't know how to express them. She said that seeing me living what she always imagined for herself made her feel like a failure. It was a tough conversation. She broke down and confessed that she feels like she's been stuck in a rut while I've been thriving. She said she had always envisioned herself owning a vineyard, building a family there, and making a name for herself in the wine industry. But when I bought the vineyard, she felt like I had taken that dream from her, even though she knew deep down that it wasn't really fair to blame me. We talked for a long time, and I suggested that instead of focusing on the past, maybe we could work together to create something new for her. I offered to help her start her own wine label, using the vineyard's resources, and she could have a real stake in the business. I also suggested that she could use the vineyard as a home base for her wine label, so she could feel more connected to it without having to own it outright. She seemed interested in the idea, but she didn't commit to anything right away. We left things on a more positive note, though she still doesn't want the wedding at the vineyard. I respect her decision, and I'm helping her look for other venues. Our parents are still upset, but I think they're starting to see that this situation is more complicated than they initially thought. I've also realized that I need to be more aware of how my actions affect those around me, even when I have the best intentions. I genuinely want my sister to be happy, and I'm going to do whatever I can to support her in achieving her own dreams. I'll keep you all updated if anything else happens, but for now, it feels like we're on the path to healing. Update 2. Hey Reddit, it's been a couple of months, and I wanted to give you all another update on the situation. First of all, I'm happy to report that things with Emily are much better now. She actually took me up on the offer to start her own wine label. We're in the early stages of planning, but she's already come up with some amazing ideas for branding and marketing. We've even had some initial tastings, and I think she's going to do great with this. It's been an eye-opening experience for both of us. I've been learning a lot about what it takes to start a wine label from scratch, and Emily's creativity is really shining through. She's also starting to embrace the idea that her dream doesn't have to look exactly the way she imagined it when we were kids. She's putting her own spin on things, and it's turning into something truly unique. The wedding plans have also moved forward. Emily and Mark found a beautiful venue that they both love, and they're excited about it. It's not a vineyard, but it's a charming, rustic farm with a lot of character. I'm covering part of the cost as a wedding gift, and Emily has told me several times how much she appreciates it. Our relationship has improved a lot. We've had some deep conversations about our childhood dreams and how they've evolved. Emily has come to terms with the fact that our paths were always going to be different, and she's focusing on making her own mark in the wine world now. Our parents have calmed down too, they're just happy that we're getting along again. The wedding is next month, and I'm looking forward to celebrating with them. I think this whole experience has brought us closer together, and I'm hopeful for the future. But something else happened recently that I want to share. A few weeks ago, Emily asked if she could use the vineyard for her engagement photos. At first, I was hesitant because of everything that happened, but she assured me that she was in a much better place now and that she wanted to create some positive memories there. We had the photo shoot, and it was a beautiful day. Seeing her and Mark so happy made me realize just how far we've come. I've also been working on improving my vineyard, expanding the business, and even thinking about opening it up for more events. It's become more than just a livelihood for me, it's a place where I can connect with family and friends, and hopefully, one day, pass something down to the next generation. Thanks again to everyone who weighed in. Your advice really helped me navigate this situation, and I'm grateful for the support. Update 3. Hey Reddit, I thought I'd provide one final update since the wedding has now taken place, and I think we've finally reached a point of closure. The wedding was absolutely beautiful. Emily and Mark's venue was perfect for them, a rustic barn surrounded by wildflowers and rolling hills. It wasn't a vineyard, but it had that same serene, natural beauty that Emily always loved. The ceremony was intimate, with just close family and friends, and I'm not ashamed to admit I got a little emotional during their vows. One of the best parts was that Emily's new wine label was officially launched at the wedding. She had small bottles of her first vintage as wedding favors for all the guests, and they were a huge hit. Seeing her so proud of what she had created made everything worth it. She even gave a little speech during the reception, thanking everyone who had supported her, and she specifically mentioned how grateful she was that we were able to work through our issues and come out stronger on the other side. Our parents have come around as well. They were beaming with pride at the wedding, not just for Emily, but for both of us. I think they've realized that while things didn't go exactly as they might have imagined when we were kids, we've both found our own paths to happiness. After the wedding, Emily and I had a quiet moment together, just the two of us, sitting under the stars. She told me that while she'll always wonder what could have been, she's genuinely happy with where she is now. She said that starting her own wine label has given her a sense of purpose, and she's excited about the future. We've even talked about collaborating on a special blend in the future, something that combines both of our styles and reflects our shared love of wine. As for me, I've been focusing on expanding my vineyard and making it the best it can be. I've also started opening it up for more events, weddings, parties, even community gatherings. It's becoming a place where people can create memories, and that's something I'm really proud of. Looking back, I realize that this whole experience has taught me a lot about family, communication, and the importance of understanding each other's dreams. It's easy to get caught up in your own world and forget that the people you love might be struggling in ways you don't see. I'm just glad that we were able to work through it and come out the other side stronger. Thank you again to everyone who offered advice and support. It really helped me navigate this tricky situation, and I'm grateful for the wisdom you all shared. Comments. U/winelover84. NTA. It's not your fault that you were able to achieve the dream you both had. It's unfortunate that your sister feels this way, but asking you to sell your vineyard is way out of line. I'm glad you were able to have a constructive conversation with her, though. I hope she finds peace with the situation. Ops reply. Thanks, I agree that the suggestion to sell was extreme, but I think she was just speaking out of hurt. I'm relieved that we were able to talk things through, and I'm hopeful about the direction we're headed. U/family first always. I can see both sides here. It must be hard for Emily to watch you living her dream, but it's also unfair for her to put that on you. I'm glad you're supporting her in starting her own wine label. That's a really thoughtful gesture. Ops reply. I think you're right. I didn't realize how hard it was for her, but now that I do, I want to do what I can to support her. I hope this new project helps her feel more fulfilled. U/vineyard queen. As someone who works in the wine industry, I just want to say that what you're doing for your sister is amazing. Starting a wine label is no small feat, but it can be incredibly rewarding. Kudos to you for helping her find her own path. U/toughlove23. ESH. Your sister for blaming you for something that's out of your control, and you for not picking up on her feelings sooner. But it sounds like you're making things right now, so good on you for that. Ops reply. I appreciate the honesty. I definitely could have been more aware of her feelings, and I'm doing my best to make up for that now. U/notifon of drama. Your parents are being ridiculous. You're not responsible for Emily's happiness. It's great that you're willing to help her, but they need to stop making you the bad guy here. U/sibling rivalry. This sounds like classic sibling rivalry that got out of hand. Glad to hear you're both working through it. Family relationships are tough, but it seems like you're handling it well. U/red wine rose. The fact that Emily came around and even asked to take engagement photos at your vineyard shows real growth. It's clear she's healing, and that's something to be proud of. U/big brother blues. I've got a younger sibling too, and man, it can be tough to balance your success with their expectations. You did the right thing by addressing it head on. Major props for helping her start her wine label. That's a big brother move right there. U/old school romantic. I'm so glad to hear about the wedding. It sounds like it was a beautiful day, and the fact that you two could share that moment under the stars is just the cherry on top. Family is everything, and you've done a great job showing that. Ops reply. Thanks, I really appreciate that. It was a special moment for both of us, and I'm glad we've reached a place where we can support each other again. U/skeptical Sally. I have to admit, I was skeptical about how this would turn out, but you handled it really well. It's not easy to navigate family drama, especially when it involves lifelong dreams. Kudos to you both for finding a way forward. Ops reply. Thank you, it definitely wasn't easy, but I'm glad we're in a better place now. I think we've both learned a lot from this experience. Final update. Hey everyone, I've spent a lot of time reading through the comments, and I want to take a moment to really reflect on everything that's been said. First off, I'm genuinely grateful for the diverse perspectives you all shared. It's clear that this situation struck a chord with many of you, and I've appreciated the tough love, the empathy, and the insights. When I first posted, I was feeling a mix of confusion and defensiveness. I didn't understand how I could be at fault when all I'd done was pursue an opportunity that came my way. But after reading through your responses, I realized that the issue isn't black and white. It's not just about whether I was technically right or wrong in buying the vineyard. It's about how my actions, however unintentional, affected someone I care deeply about. I've come to see that while I'm not necessarily the bad guy here, I also wasn't fully attuned to my sister's feelings. Emily had been dreaming of owning a vineyard her whole life, and even though she never explicitly said she was upset, the fact that I didn't pick up on her subtle cues means I could have been more empathetic and aware. I think I was so focused on my own excitement and the challenges of getting the vineyard off the ground that I overlooked how this might be impacting her. Reading comments that pointed out how difficult it must have been for Emily to watch me living the dream she always imagined for herself really hit home. I can't imagine what it must feel like to see your lifelong aspirations seemingly slip through your fingers, even if they were never really yours to begin with. It's a complicated mix of emotions that I'm sure many people would struggle with, and I regret not recognizing the depth of her feelings sooner. But the truth is, I also have to acknowledge that Emily's request for me to sell the vineyard was an emotional reaction, and one that wasn't entirely fair. Selling the vineyard wasn't an option for me. It's my livelihood, my passion, and something I've worked incredibly hard for. It's become part of my identity, and letting it go would have left me feeling lost. However, I now understand that her request wasn't really about the vineyard itself, it was about her grief over a dream that didn't materialize in the way she'd always hoped. So, where does that leave me? I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think I'm an asshole for pursuing my dream, but I also recognize that I could have been more sensitive to how that dream intersected with Emily's. I've learned that sometimes it's not enough to just assume someone is happy for you, sometimes you have to ask, to dig a little deeper, and to make sure that everyone's feelings are being acknowledged. I'm proud of the steps Emily and I have taken to heal our relationship, and I'm glad that we've found a way to work together moving forward. The creation of her wine label feels like a fresh start for both of us, a way for her to reclaim her dream in a new form, and for me to support her in a meaningful way. In the end, I believe this whole experience has brought us closer together, and that's something I'm incredibly grateful for. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to comment. Your input helped me see the bigger picture, and I feel like I've grown from this experience. While there are no easy answers when it comes to family and long-held dreams, I'm confident that Emily and I are on the right path now, and that we'll continue to support each other as we move forward in our respective journeys.